Next up on WTV, a look at student council elections, a special way to help test students' knowledge. WTV's Daily Update starts now. Good morning, Red Hawk Nation. Today is Thursday, April 11th, and I'm Ben Anderson with another Daily Update brought to you by Wingspan TV. Voting begins today for student council elections. WTV's Vivek Sundararaman has the details.
Voting for the 2019-2020 Student Body President election begins today and will end tomorrow at 4:15. The two candidates running for Student Body President are juniors Emma Hancock and Riley Horker. Students in grades 9, 10, and 11 should have received an email on their Frisco ISD account today with a Google form attached to vote for the candidate of their choice. Students can only submit the voting form once. Results will be made available tomorrow at 4:15. Reporting for Wingspan TV, I'm Vivek Sundararaman.
Even though most classes usually consist of taking notes or reading out of a textbook, some classes are having students learn with a different type of hands-on experience. WTV's Bryn Salakis has the details.
Teachers are starting to implement newer learning experiences for the students by testing their knowledge in an engaging way that involves a breakout and escape room.
It allowed for them to really dive into the material and make sure they could understand the material and then use it in different ways to solve problems. And when students start to think critically and think for themselves, learning to solve problems, I think it helps them in all areas of life, not just in the classroom. My favorite part of it was, like I said earlier, was watching them solve different kinds of problems and being able to problem solve and figuring out the keys to the combinations and figuring out different ways to get the lock open and finally escape the activity.
Breakouts can be used in classes as a fun way to study for a test and allow for students to work more closely with their classmates.
The breakout that we did for our math class was basically to review functions before a humongous test, and then we were supposed to figure out how to solve all these different locks and combinations by solving math problems. I loved the way that the breakout was formatted because it caught my interest, and it was just a lot more interesting than the normal taking notes in the just practice sheets. I think other classes should definitely have this too, because I think it just brings in a new way of learning and practicing for a test, so that it kind of just gets you to remember stuff more, because you're like, oh, remember that really fun thing we did and all these problems, you know?
Reporting for WTV, I'm Bryn Salakis.
When most people think of Star Wars, they think of the trilogy or the three-part saga. But for one class on campus, it means studying for the state exam. WTV's Ujat Supercar has the details.
The STAR test preparation process can be tiring for some, but English 2 classes did their final preparations using activity stations.
Star Wars was a fun and interactive thing we did in English class. It consisted of various stations. I think there were about 20, and what we did was we had to answer questions, and we had reading passages, grammar sections of the writing section in the STAR, and so when we got it right, we got to do these fun activities like cup stacking, and then we had to blow a feather into a trash can. This all was really fun, and I really enjoyed the Star Wars we did in English class.
The Star Wars activity not only gave the students a break from their usual classes, but also gave the teachers a break.
Yeah, so Coach Sarton, who taught at Reedy last year, she did this activity with her sophomores, and they really seemed to enjoy it. It was a great way to be engaged with the STAR material without having to complete a whole bunch of packets or write a whole bunch. Well, it definitely helped because they were doing things directly related to the STAR test, so the multiple choice questions and the essay questions were all pulled from a real STAR exam. So I think just getting that practice and having the opportunity to get their stuff checked and redo it, it was really helpful. And I think we were happy with the outcomes. The students did pretty well in their groups, and they tended to be pretty engaged with the stuff so they could go on to the next game. And I think that combined with the normal test prep that we do really created a balanced approach to STAR preparation.
Reporting for WTV, this is Ujat Supercar.
On this week's edition of My Life As, WTV takes a look into the life of interior designer Carson Caruso.
Back from the Kate Center around after third period, and I just walk in. It's like 2:50, and then I go sit down, and Mrs. Winnie is there, and she's at the board, and she's telling us about color schemes and whatnot. And during that time, though, I was working on my project for Regions for SCCLA. It was kind of nerve-wracking a little bit because you just walk in there and you just see the judges, and they can either appear really like extra, like a little rude-ish, and then they can also appear very nice. So we were lucky because our judges were pretty nice for our first go, and so we just presented and they said, oh yeah, we like the idea. It's a little bit nerve-wracking when you're up there just speaking, and you're trying not to embarrass yourself in front of them, but overall it was pretty nice. But my most favorite part, I would say, would probably be the drafting. It's so much fun just getting the grind on and just sketching out everything. I really want to pursue an architecture and interior design in the future, and hopefully go to college for that. So I'm getting more involved in those kind of clubs and activities where I can pursue in that. It just really interests me doing the activities for interior design.
If you are looking for more from Wingspan, you can follow us at Liberty Wingspan on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our award-winning website, libertywingspan.com. WTV's Wade Glover has today's announcements.
Freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, check your emails for the Student Body President voting form. Voting ends tomorrow at 4:15. Seniors, check your emails for the Prom King and Queen voting form. All votes must be submitted by midnight tomorrow. Tomorrow's prom week dress-up theme is Flashback Friday. Dress like an elementary schooler. Prom is on Saturday. If you are bringing a non-Liberty guest, please fill out the form that is attached to My Payments Plus. All guests must be under 21 years old. Today is the last day to buy prom tickets on My Payments Plus. Tickets will be sold at the door. Tennis tryouts for next school year are Monday at 4:15 at the tennis courts. The 4th annual Red Hawk Volleyball Beach Tournament is Friday, May 3rd. Scan the QR code on screen if you would like to compete.
That's it for today's Daily Update. This has Ben Anderson for Wingspan TV.